judges, and all of their courtrooms are on their public access television. So if you live in the city of Cleveland, you can go to the public access station and see any court proceeding. The difference with what we do on Periscope is that you don't see any of the defendants. So even for me, there's a lot more protection because I'm not necessarily exposing people and their faces. So it's even better. But yes, it is absolutely legal. I will not lose my license to be on Periscope. Believe that.
Now you guys heard it here. I have a question here from, where you at, Spicy Salsa Diva? Come in with your question, because I like I said, there's a lot going on here, and I don't want to lose Judge Dawson with all the technology stuff. Spicy Salsa Diva, come with your question, because I know you were very interested in getting a question answered. And I think it was about eviction.
Okay.
I'm waiting for her to answer a question. I think she has a tenant, or she lives with someone that has become extremely disrespectful. Now she wants to put him out.
Okay.
When she answers when she asks the actual question, I remember that though. But what are the terms, if you're able to answer this, that she would have to follow in order to evict a roommate?
Okay. Now, do you just as a sidebar, we say that in the courtrooms.
Sidebar.
I believe your streaming is back up.
Okay, cool.
Because I have both going.
Oh, okay, great.
But so anyway, and it's funny because the streaming is a little bit delayed. But
okay.
To answer her question, it depends on how long the person has been living there. So if the room, say if it's a roommate, and that roommate has been living there for more than 60 days, especially if it gets further than that, then they have to be evicted. Anything normally under 60 days, they're still a house guest, and you can just ask them to leave. And if they don't leave, they're trespassing. But the problem becomes when it gets to be extended. How much stuff do they have there? Can they actually say, I live there, as opposed to I'm visiting? So you want to be able to just ask them to leave, because the legal proceedings, it costs money. You have to go to court. They can defend themselves. So that's the first question. Was she able to tell you how long they've been living there?
No. She, I'm trying to see if she came back on. I know a lot of people jumped off of the stream, and we're streaming. I gotta keep going while we have this. And the funny thing about this, Judge, we have never had this problem of the streaming going off ever in the 2 years. And this was like Judge Dawson has got the heat going on.
No,
so.
But I'll come back. We can always do it. We could do this.
Oh my God!
Time too, so. Because
this is an amazing thing. Because one, what I am impressed with, and what I'm very much honored by, is the fact that you're educating people. Not only are you exciting to watch, but you're educating. So people are like, oh, I didn't even know you could do this, and I didn't know this and that. And it's helpful, because sometimes people have no idea what they can and cannot do.
Right.
And the simplest things that they thought are nothing, like today, early, and I don't know, can we bring up any of those cases today or no?
You can.
Okay.
Let's talk.
The young lady who, the sister, I think, was driving, she got caught, we call her the henny chick. She was in the back seat with the open container. And people were like, well, she wasn't driving, so why is she in trouble for having an open container? So how did that even get there?
That's a great question. It is illegal in Ohio, and I believe everywhere else, to ride around with an open, well, maybe not Vegas, right?
Maybe not.
to ride around with an open container. So, for instance, if you have a bottle of anything, it has to be closed. And the weird thing about it is the way the law works here, and I believe many other places, if the bottle is, if the seal is broken, it's considered open container, because you could always, put the top back on that bottle of Henny. I'm sure that bottle was closed, unlike a can of beer, which is always open.
Right.
But yes, you cannot drive or be in a vehicle that's moving with an open container. And you know what? It would seem like that's kind of a nonsense law, and maybe it is, because as long as you're not driving the car, why can't you have some fun?
Right.
But that's the whole thing about the law, is that there's so many laws that are, obscure. So you need to be aware of it before you find yourself in somebody's court with a $150 fine because you had a bottle of Henny in the car. But
Bellstar says that's not right. What if, okay, and Bellstar, you shouldn't take liquor home from a party, because that's a bad house guest. If you take a bottle of wine to someone's house, leave it there. But her question is, That's not right, because what if you're leaving a party and you're taking your liquor, you're not drinking it, but it's open and it's in your back seat and you're driving, but it's because you drink it somewhere else?
Well, let's keep it real, right? Okay, here's keeping it real. If we are friends and we went to a party and I took a bottle home or took a bottle in the car, it's a great chance that I am going to pass that bottle around the car. So let's keep it real. It's a good chance that driver will take a swig and then immediately everyone's in danger. Now, in a rare case, the one person who had the Henny is going to hide it for themselves and drink it. But let's, realistically, you're going to say, hey, y'all, I got this little Henny, and everybody's going to take a swig. Now you have somebody drinking and driving.
So if it's in the trunk, is that okay?
If it's in the trunk, you're absolutely okay.
Okay, so that answered your question. If it's in the trunk, you're okay.
Because they can't even search your trunk, technically, unless there's probable cause.
Right.
Look, I hate to say this, but even if you had crack in the trunk, they couldn't search the trunk because there's no probable cause. Unless
they had a dog, sniffing dog.
Yes.
And that just came out of the car, and then they would sniff it, right?
That's right.
See, that's my little law. I do have a little bit of that, I always make sure, because I tell my children, I have 19-year-old girls, and I say, listen, you never know who you're getting in the car with. So I always have to be mindful, because when things like that happen, sometimes the driver's not going to take fault. And if something's in that car, they're going to charge everybody until somebody, fesses up. And that's kind of, it's hard and it's scary out there.
And it's good that you tell your girls that, because that happens with girls, but a lot more with boys.
Right.
Because all, the young men, they all want to man up. No one wants to be a snitch. They don't tell who has what in the car. And then everybody is charged with whatever, possession of drugs, possession of, marijuana, crack, cocaine, whatever it is. So you're right. Be careful and be mindful of who you're riding with.
So Bellstar also says, and bless your heart, Bellstar, because she's just like, but wait, my car was parked outside and they searched it.
What else led to that?
Yeah.
What happened before that?
Was there an altercation? Was there a call to the police? What happened before that, Bellstar? Because she's over there heated. She's like, this is not right. Did you get... What happened?
I need to look at your Periscope so I can see this too.
Yes, if you could chime in on Periscope, and now you can answer, because as they go through so quickly. So, okay, so that was one of the cases, and we were kind of making light of it because last week she was on, and today she had to reappear, and I believe the sister had warrants, and she wasn't coming up to court too, and
right.
People didn't understand. Well, was she using her ID? Like, what happened? Interesting.
Yeah, there was that case where the young lady said her sister was using her ID. I don't know if you remember that one. And,
yes.
My question was, well, have you prosecuted her? What the statute said, well, she's done it all the time. And I'm thinking,
hold on one second.
Report that. If your sister is doing that, you have to report it.
Right.
Because otherwise, you're going to be the one getting in trouble. All right, so now I have the Periscope.
Okay, great. So you can see all the stuff here. I do have a caller that just called in. Caller, you are on the air with the M Squad Show, and we have the Honorable Judge Dawson on the line with us. Speaketh, or forever hold your peace.
Yes, hello. This is Richard calling from Atlanta. Can you hear me?
Can you hear? Yes, he can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Good evening, Judge Dawson. It's very good to speak with you, and it was definitely an honor to watch your Periscope earlier today with your session.
Thank you. I appreciate you watching.
I just had a quick question for you because I was watching when you were assigning sentencing to a couple of your cases, and when you were trying to arrange scheduling for the different people, I was looking as they had other cases, or sounded like other things, and other judges that they had to go see, and so they had to arrange times around that. Did that mean that those people were multiple offenders of other things?
Yeah. Good question. Absolutely. And what's interesting, and I have a criminal defense attorney background, so I was a criminal defense attorney before becoming a judge, which is different. Most times they come from the prosecutor side. So when people have issues like other court hearings. I understand that because I used to represent so many people in different courts. So I'm a little bit more compassionate to that, where there are some judges that'll say, I don't care, this is the date, you better get here, I don't care about that other court. I try not to do that, but yes, absolutely, they have other issues in other courts, so I try to give them a chance to resolve all their issues so that no other judge will hold it against them for missing court.
And I have to interject here real quick, because you are probably one of the most patient judges that I've seen, in the fact that you are so compassionate. Like, you really try to help them. You just don't, if you have to, lay down the law, you still do it with loving hands and say, hey, you're going to do this 180 days, but I'm going to suspend 177 for time served. You only got 3 days, but let me tell you why these 3 days are going to make you help. And it's so loving, which is hilarious, because it's like, okay, thanks, I'll do 3 days, thanks. And it's damn, I got to go to jail, though. But you do it with such a loving hand and so compassionate. So one of the biggest things, and Richard, if you watch him, a lot of people say about the compassion, about how you really care about, the defendants. And now I understand, because coming from a defense attorney side, you're always, okay, we're going to find the law, we're going to find the facts, and taking it now to the judge side, I can see the differences, like, okay, now I got to go on the other side here, but still facts are facts. And Richard, is there any other questions you have for Judge?
Oh, well, that was the one I had, and then I just wanted to say that I really, really do appreciate and respect what he is doing. One of the best things I think I heard today is when he used the visual about walking down the sidewalk, and then if there's a hole, some people fall in that hole and they have to dig themselves out of it. And I appreciate that someone who hands down a sentence and is the word of the law doesn't just stop there, but instead encourages on how to get past that thing and moving on with their life in a better direction. Not many judges or any people with the authority will take the time to encourage that at this point in a young person's life. So thank you for what you do, sir. And congratulations on being the good person that you are. Now continue to watch and tell people about you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, Richard. And continue to share broadcasts. Let people know when Judge Dawson because I'm telling people now, I'm trying to find you a TV deal. Without you even knowing, I've already talked to some production companies about you. I've went to the Georgia Public Broadcasting where they do paternity court, because you need it. You need this show because, we have the Judge Judys. And I know you said you kind of hashtagged or whatever, everyone wants to remove Judge Judy and put Judge Dawson in. We have Lauren, what's from paternity court?
Lauren, we have Miss Toller.
There it is. Lauren Toller, Judge Toller.
Judge Toller.
And then we have the other judges, like there are 3 judges that are together and they kind of all do this case. I don't know what that is.
I saw that before.
I'm kind of a judge. I take it after my mom. We love these shows, right? But, so, now the second case. Hold on, because this was funny. Because today, people were stuck on, did this young boy say she put her cell phone in her?
Yeah. It's so funny because, I'm telling you, and I'll get to this, but I do want to address the patience thing. But that's part of it, I understand that a lot of people that come before me, you're going to have different people. I have PhDs. I have people with limited vocabulary skills. So, he kept saying that she put the phone and he used the TI, word. And he said it over and over again.
Oh, and he was 18, I believe. He was 18, right?
And he had a straight face, 18 with a straight face, as if, hey, I'm not saying anything wrong. That's where she put the phone. That's how he knew how to communicate it. But you know what? I'm going to tell you. It's not hard, but my staff, they find it so, I don't know what they find it, but I don't laugh at people at the funniest things. I may have laughed, unless I make the joke. I've only laughed one time, and that's when a defendant who was coming up from jail, I was going to let him out from jail, and he turned around before he went back down to jail and asked me for bus money. I thought that was hilarious. That was the only time I actually laughed at something someone
But you know
said.
what, Judge? You probably gave it to him. You probably said, you know what? Hey, go see my bailiff out in the corner. I'll give you a couple $2 for the bus
Right.
money.
I did. I said, well, Bailiff Sanders may help you out.
Because I can tell the compassionate side, like I said, the patient side. You don't want to see people because we can't judge. And I think that's why, in my feeling, why you don't laugh, because you do respect people's, up, and you just never know, you never criticize, nor do you, being a judge, the funny part, you're not judgmental. That's the funny, you're not judgmental, but you're a judge.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting.
Ironic.
So it was very ironic. And the crazy part, when I was listening to the case, it went from a domestic violence to an assault. And, and as I was saying, never should a man put hands on a woman. But I also feel women sometimes push those buttons, and we know that men are stronger than us. If a man says, hey, get out of my way, and I plead with women because I try to educate women, get out of their way. It's not that important that you have to talk to them at that very moment, because women try to get away with that. Well, if you weren't in his face pushing and hitting on him and spitting on him and doing all that, there's a fine line, and I feel bad for sometimes. And 18 years old, of course, he doesn't know any better.
He doesn't know any better.
He doesn't know any better. We have a question. Go ahead.
And she kept putting the phone in her,
Yeah, in her Tiggo thingies, right? Yeah, and we were waiting because we all were saying, did he just really say?
Yeah.
And they kept saying, did he just say it again? Did he just say it again? And I said, oh, I'm talking about them tonight. That's what I said.
Right. He said it. And you know what was sad about that one, though? And it's just common. She's younger than him, but they've been together since he was 15 and she was 14.
Right.
So they're children trying to live adult lives, and they don't have the emotional intelligence to do so.
Right.
So these young men think that, by putting my hands on you, that's how I exert my manhood and my control, right. And that's not it.
Right. Now, there's a question here that's asking, do you know anything about New Mexico law?
I saw that. You know what? I do not. Every state has different laws, which is, the beauty of our Constitution and our unions. But, yeah, every state has different laws, which is why every lawyer has to pass the bar in a specific state so that they know that law. Now,
this is your first term as a judge?
Term, but fifth year. So it's long term. It's 6 years. Next year I'm running again. Unless you get me a show and then
you're going to run, you're going to win and have a show and be elected to the Supreme Court, and then you're going to become president. That's what we're going to do. That's how we see it. That's how we see it.
Can I address the patients for
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So first of all, I don't know if you know, but I practice yoga, which is my
yogi.
Yes. So I meditate every day, and you see, if you tune in when I first start, I have everyone in the courtroom take 3 deep breaths. So I try to bring us into a centering position mentally. But then I'm also very patient because, like I said, I'm blessed to be in this position. I could have been any of those young men standing in front of me. I could have been that defendant. So when I look at people, whether it's a young man or old man, it doesn't matter. When I look at people, I don't see them as being different than me. That I'm this big judge and they're a criminal.
Yes,
I look at them as people who made mistakes. So I am very patient because I understand that the legal system frustrates a lot of people. So, sometimes it's very hard because they'll be disrespectful, and I'll have to just sit there and gather myself because I don't want what they're going to do to guide my emotions and what I'm going to do. I already know what I'm going to do. I don't want you to be able to change it and rock my boat like that. So.
Right. Now, do you practice with Abraham Hicks? Are you familiar with his meditations, his guided meditations?
No. I'm going to write that down. Abraham Hicks.
Abraham Hicks, yes. My life coach Michelle Jones. She's heavy in the getting in manifestation and getting into good spaces and being positive in those things. So she introduced me to Abraham Hicks, which is an amazing, they have guided, they have, money meditations, they have the good things, but it's a really good series of meditations. So
I'm going to check it out.
Because when I saw that you did meditate, I'm like, how awesome is that? To say, hey guys, calm down. Everybody take 3 breaths. And you get them in a good space where they don't feel fearful. And what I also like about your courtroom is when they have questions, you don't hurry up and rush them out. You try to answer them and listen to them because they are scared, you know?
Yep.
I did remember, I think last week or a week before, a gentleman in there that had a rape, and he just wanted to tell his side of it. There were like two pieces of it.
Yeah.
And you just let him talk, and you're just like, okay, but this is not the time. When it happens, please. But you were giving him every way to succeed and get out of it, not out of it, but to get the best representation ever. So, you know, again, I mean, kudos to you.
Thank you. And let me tell you, and I'm going to say this first time I'm ever saying this live or anything.
You better stop. I got an exclusive. What?
But the judge that I beat, the judge that I ran against, that was one of the reasons I ran against that judge, because I grew up in the city of East Cleveland. The previous judge did not. And I didn't like the way that judge treated people in the court. I was a public defender because I had my private practice and I volunteered in the court. And I thought my position is that even though people make mistakes, they still deserve to be treated like a human being with some type of dignity. Yeah. And judges will rip you apart. And that's the one thing, that's the one thing that I don't necessarily like about the Judge Judy show. I mean, I know people love to get that. But, you know, I treat people with respect. And But at the same time, like you said, I can go from 0 to 60 when I need to. But before I do that, I'm going to give you respect until you show me you don't deserve it.
Absolutely. And, you know, people, because they feel that they need to be that way, like a Judge Judy, and we're saying her a lot because her style is entertainment.
It is entertainment.
But she's so harsh, and she's so, it's like, it's almost like, okay, you're so bitter, get off the bench, because now you just hate the world because everything that you've seen, you know? And
she should smile more.
Yeah, exactly. Smile more. Smile. Now, talk about these programs for the young kids. When you do a sentence, then you also offer them jail time or the classes. So that was approved by the state, I guess, that your courses can be intertwined in that and be a level. So how did that come about to get that going? Because that's an amazing thing.
Well, a couple of things. When I was a defense attorney, I developed a program called Finish First, which is the whole theory is to finish first, begin with the end in mind. You've heard that before. Mm-hmm. So the program talks about how to deal with police officers and then even life so that you don't make the mistakes that you're regretting. So I did that as a defense attorney, and I would go around to courts, to their probation department, and help out with that program. And when I became judge, it just gave me the ability to do it in my court. And one of the things that's unique about my court is the city of East Cleveland, like some of the other suburbs, I am the only judge. So I am the administrative and presiding judge. I hire everybody on my staff from probation officers all the way to the clerks and the bailiffs. I hire them all. So it's a one-man show. Good thing about that is I can do pretty much anything I want. Like, for instance, the first time I did yoga, I did it in my courtroom. I cleared the courtroom, all the chairs, and I did yoga with my probationers right in my courtroom. Nice. Didn't have to ask anybody, didn't have to clear it. So that goes back to your question about the program. I'm really able to do whatever I want as long as it's not disrespecting the bench, you know. So my program is allowed, and it's a way to give people the tools to not make mistakes. And I've been doing it for several years. And I do it in the schools. Just so you know, on Tuesdays, it's my slow docket, it's my eviction docket, like the young lady had the question. And for evictions, I have a magistrate handle the case. He sits on the bench. Mm-hmm. So on Tuesdays, I'm in schools talking to two groups of individuals. The first one is a high school, and in the afternoon, I go to a lockup where the kids are actually there because they're in trouble. Mm. And I talk to them about the leadership skills also, about finishing first, and about being psycho breakers. So,
wow. I mean, it's
a lot of work.
But it's an amazing program, again, because when you have and I say this because I get emotional sometimes when I see these things because you don't see it that often. And as a mother, and, you know, who is raising 4 kids, a single mom, it's like to have that extra, because it's easy. You can hit that gavel, go home and forget, go back the next day, hit the gavel, go home and forget. But to go out into the communities and talk to the schools, I think I caught one of those scopes. Do you travel? Have you started traveling with this? I know your job is real. It's Monday through Friday, but have you started traveling to reach other communities or, you know, in that circuit? But
you know, I have not, but now that I'm hooked up with you, if you have space in your life to add another client, I will be everywhere because I see that's how you do it. But you know what? I just don't have the right. I haven't reached out and established those connections, so I just stay in my lane. But I really desire to do that. I think, you know, my goal, my prayer is that I can take, you know, my message national, international, just trying to help as many people as possible. I really want to do that. But I have not. I've gone to specific locations. I've spoken for certain events in different locations. But just traveling with my message and hitting cities and schools, I have not done it, but I want to, whether it's colleges, high schools, you name it.
Awesome. Do we have any more questions on the Periscope? Because I can go all day talking to him because there's so much information out there that he has, a plethora of information. But, you know, we have to go to your tie game here. Okay, everyone talks about your bow ties and your outfits. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how his wife does it and sees the comments. As a secure woman, I can imagine she's... Because they go in, oh, you're gorgeous, oh, this, oh, you're... I mean, I've seen some stuff, and I'm like, okay, now be respectful. His wife is on here, like, but your tie game. I already told your wife, I said, I'm going to go for your tie endorsements. I'm already talking to people like, yo, he needs his own line of ties, like, we... But you dress so classic man. Very classic. So, who does your wardrobe, you or your wife?
Well, I do my wardrobe. She approves of some things when I need the approval. But I'll tell you. So here's the joke. You know, in East Cleveland, I went to a high school called Shaw High School. You probably never heard of it, but when I graduated, that class, we prided ourselves on dressing. That was our thing. We made sure that we dressed well. So I try to do that. The comments, I really rarely, if ever, see any of them for two reasons. You may not believe this, but I never rewatch the replays of the Periscopes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because, you know, like, I just don't. You know what I mean? I try to keep it moving as far as, you know, creating other stuff, so I don't go back and look at it. But I know that could be a good or bad thing because I don't watch any of my video. But so I don't see the comments. I can't look down. You know, I remember one time I was doing a Periscope, and I looked down, and I saw a comment, and the comment said, he just looked down. I said, okay, I won't be looking down again.
They are starving for your attention. I'm like, people, he's at work, like he can't, you know, but they, they go in, ask questions. But the good thing about your followers and your fan base, as it's growing, they're very respectful. And we've become like a little family that every Thursday, hey guys, how you guys doing? They got your popcorn, got your jelly beans, whatever it is. And we kind of help the trolls from being on there and being disrespectful. And we kind of outnumber with the positivity. And we're like, hey, let's do this. And your wife does a great job in moderating that, you know, Periscope. But I definitely, I mean, like I said, I could talk to you all day. There's so much out there, information. Tiffany's goal. Do you know about pregnancy discrimination?
No, pregnancy discrimination. No, I haven't heard or had any of those cases. But I know it's not. I know it's not allowed. I can't imagine in which venue or what type of scenario she's experienced it. But that would be definitely disallowed. I know here for sure.
Tiffany, are you looking at something for work related? Like, is it something work related that you feel like you're being discriminated against? Because I do know some of those resources out there to help if you are going through that. Because I was terminated from a job, and there was remarks made as I was pregnant with my fourth child, and it got kind of messy. So I can, depending on where you were at, well, if you were fired, there's definitely some resources out there for you to tap into. What city and state are you in, Tiffany? And then there's another question. Are there any tips for someone to get a job that has a felony case pending? Okay, you're in Orlando.
You know, there are employers who always notify that they are hiring felons or people with, you know, past records. So the first thing you want to do is you want to check that list in your area. There are always employers doing it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because there's grant money to do it, and they get credit from the government to do it. It's just about trying to find the companies. Now, the only obstacle you may have is the fact that it's pending, which means employers, if they hire you, there's a risk. You know, Will he be here in 2 months? Will he be incarcerated? So what type of case is it? So the pending makes it a little more difficult, but don't give up though. Just keep knocking on those doors and find a list in your area of employers who get federal money to hire people who've had past records.
Awesome. Did you get that clue? I am clue. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about, like I say, I can say this over and over again because there's so many things, and I would love to get you back on the show.
I will do that.
Because, again, I foresee myself doing a lot of business to help further your brand and get your book out there because it's very well much needed, now in today's climate in the society that we're in. But the young lady who was trespassing, Miss Jennings, can I say her name? Because I just did.
Yeah, you're fine.
She clearly understood the law and understands it. So she knows how to manipulate. She knows the loopholes in it. And I saw about putting the sign on because now that it's saying no trespassing or no soliciting past these hours, now there's a law or not a law, but some kind of stipulation.
Yeah.
Basis for that. She is very knowledgeable. So we were throwing out suggestions, and because you don't watch the replay, we're all kind of saying, hey, give her a job in the court as Miss Ivory's assistant. I'm gonna tell you, do filing because clearly she knows how to, or she's looking for a place to stay that's warm and all that stuff. So she knows how to get away with it. But because someone who is knowledgeable, clearly she's viable to society. So how can we put her in a place or a position to say, you know what? Let's help this out. Is that something you would consider?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's funny because every morning when I come in, she's there, and she sits in the same space, which is right outside my courtroom. So I walk in, I speak to her every day. Sometimes, when I'm walking out for lunch, I may offer her lunch. I mean, do you need anything? Because she's there, and she's nice. She is very respectful. She doesn't do anything wrong in the hallway. So it was a crazy case because she's very smart, but the prosecutor did say something that as we concluded, she kind of said, well, if she was really, really smart, she wouldn't be hanging out here, meaning that, the city isn't the best city, but hey, if that's where you live, that's where you live. But I thought about it, my wife mentioned it, and I even thought about it. She would be possibly a good candidate because one thing for sure, she'll get to work on time, and she may not even need a lunch break. So,
and the reason why I said that was because, again, we don't know why and what got her to that position. And I myself said, we're all pretty much 1 or 2 paychecks away from homelessness or anything to that effect because of how we are. So it's to kind of putting back and installing people back into the community. How awesome would that be? But I also thought too, what if she's your guardian angel? Like, what if she's your angel? She's just watching over you. And so I always tell people, always be kind, give what you can, buy food, and just do what you can because you just never know why or how they got there,
That's right.
And people would never know that, 12 years ago, I was homeless when I moved to Atlanta. And at that time, I had my twin girls, and I had to really step up and change from corporate to this, and I had to really get back on my grind. And thank God, relationships that you make and the relationships that you keep, they're very authentic and genuine, and people see your spirit and your heart. So I thought it was really cute. I'm like, man, let's get her a job. Like, what can we do to get her back into working society? Even if it's filing in the court clerk's office, filing, just giving her something to say, hey, we're going to help you out in some form or fashion. So it's just amazing.
That help there. And I need that help. I may consider that, honestly, maybe even because she has nothing else to do, see if she'll intern, see how she works and if she likes it. Because she's a nice woman. So and that's what I'm there for. I am there to help people. I'll tell you this.
Now that's a story. That's a story for the papers. That's a story for the news. That's a story.
That may get me the show, huh? No, I'm just...
You know what? Those kind of things are very much, because it's big. It's a big thing, And
I'll tell you something else. And again, this isn't exclusive. It's not like it's public record. But to go along those same lines, I have at least one person, maybe 2 actually, working for me who have felony convictions because I realized that their character was bigger than their past mistake. 10, 15 years ago, but it's still on their record. So I hired them. I took a little heat from it. People were like, he's hiring felon. But yes, that's what I'm there to do, if I realize that, I needed a second chance, anybody can use that second chance. So that's what I do.
Oh my God. Everyone's saying, please have him back on the show if he allows us to have this again. And Michael will be here next time. We had rehearsal yesterday, and he kind of, his back was hurting a little bit. We're not young spring chickens anymore. That's so right. Now because they dance throughout the whole show.
He needs to do some yoga. They need to take me on the road. No, I can't go on the road.
You will, because
do some yoga.
We can't lose you as a judge in East Cleveland. However, I kind of need to take you out of there and let the world see you and let the world have a piece of that, because, again, you're so positive, you're so humble, you're so just authentic and genuine, and you would never come across as those judges who are hardened by everything they've seen, all the excuses they hear, all of the what ifs, and I understand it sometimes. Like, get out of here. Like, I've heard it 1,000 times, but you never know. But sometimes it's just it's there.
And you know what else? And honestly, you develop arrogance, because when you're in a city, we're doing streaming and Periscope, but when you're in a city and you're the judge, the term of 6 years is the longest of an elected official. Most elected officials are 4 years, right? So you're the longest term elected official, so you become the man, right? So there's an arrogance that comes with being a judge that I refuse to buy into. I go out with my colleagues to these conferences and things like that, and they're great people, but they have that air about them because they're a judge. And I always remind myself, I'm a judge, but I'm from East Cleveland. You know what I mean? And so I can't get too stuck on myself. I don't allow that to happen.
Light Bright
keeps me connected.
Light Bright Running says, Judge, you watch the replays? He answered that he does not watch the replays. No. Like she said, or the person said, because I don't want to assume, because we don't know on the Periscope. We're all judges, lawyers, prosecutors. We're all of that on Thursdays with you. Like, we're giving cases, but when you follow Judge Dawson, and I can't stress this enough. Share this broadcast. Share it when you invite, replay it, retweet, because people need to see Judge Dawson. People need to tune in on Thursdays for him, to watch him, because, again, it's not just watching him do what he does on the bench. It's seeing him change lives. Sometimes being locked up is for the betterment, because they have to sit down sometimes to understand what needs to happen to change. And or he gives them alternative measures. And I would sit down with your family. I would have your kids sit and watch and just say, hey, this could be you. And you're not always going to get a judge like Judge Dawson. So, again, I could keep you on. And I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know your wife is like, okay, hon, it's time. Like, I had you all day. Let's go.
Can I say 2 quick things?
Yes.
This is not the reason I don't watch my replays, but by the time I get home, because I get up so early now, because I go do my yoga and I work out every day, and I get up extra early, and I come home and I don't watch the replays and stuff for the same reason. I try to give family their time, so I try to get up hours before everyone gets up so I can get to the gym and get back home. And then when I get home from work, my daughter and my son are all daddy, so I don't even have a chance to do any type of replay watching. But I'll tell you, my daughter, who is 6, she asks me, Daddy, did anybody go to jail today? So she asks me that every day. So I find that kind of funny.
Little mini lawyer in the making,
Right, exactly.
But at least she's involved. She wants to know, which is great, which is a great thing. And www. Cycle Breaker Academy, please go download his ebooks. Support this awesome judge, man of the cloth, the robe. Let's do this. I mean, on so many different levels, I can say thank you so much, because you've changed not only my Thursdays, but a lot of people. And again, it's only to grow now. And if you don't get to see the replays, everybody is so thankful for you, and everybody talks about how humble, and they're appreciative of how you handle your cases and your workload. And not only the people, the defendants, the way you treat Miss Ivory and the staff. And they said, everyone knows Miss Ivory's the boss in there, And it's so amazing, funny. Especially when they come up to the bench and the whispering starts to happen. Yeah. We're all like this. Even though we're watching, we're all like, okay, wait a minute. What do we... Right. We want to hear. We want to hear.
That's the interesting part.
So, amazing judge. Amazing judge. So, thank you, guys. Go follow Judge Dawson at Judge Dawson on all his social media.
Yes.
We're going to have him back whenever he blesses us again. Say, Melinda, I want to come back. You never know. He may want to have a Thursday night segment with us. Maybe be a 10, 15-minute segment with us. And who knows?
Who knows,
right? So yes, every Thursday, guys, look for him. Go follow him on Periscope. This is where we're trying to get him right now. I was in a meeting trying to listen with my Bluetooth today. So you have everybody calling off work, listening to Bluetooth, getting in trouble at work because they are embedded with you. So thank you so much again, Judge, and thank you to your wife, Mrs. Dawson, for allowing us to have this interview. Did we touch? Is there anything else you want to let them know about you, your wardrobe, who your designer is? Where can they get your books at?
The books are. I have my Cycle Breaker book is on Amazon. It's was iTunes through the iBooks, but also at the website cyclebreakeracademy.com. I love my bow ties. I have a few Tom Fords. I saw a conversation about that too. So I'm just glad that people watch and get the free information. It's to empower people.
Yeah.
The reason it's free is so that you can get something from it. I don't need anything from that. I want you to be empowered. So just thank you.
No, thank you. You guys, trust me. There's a union happening over here, and I'm telling you, my management wheels are turning over here. Like, how can we expand on what we're gonna do? But I promise you, about a week ago, I went to go look at this location spot for some filming, and I talked to the highest of production. I was talking to him about you, and I said, we gotta get him a show. Now, how do we get him to Atlanta, or how do we stream it from where he's at? How do we do it? So
well, and let me tell you this. The Judge Toller.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about Judge Toller is she used to work in Cleveland Heights, a suburb near mine, before she had her judge show. And from what I understand, she does all her taping in a matter of months, and then she's done. So, hey, we can make something happen.
There we go. We can always tape on Saturdays and Sundays go full out, and then you're at work Monday through Friday. We can make it happen. Can Judge consider scoping more often? No, wait, I'd lose my job if he did.
I try to make sure it's an interesting day. Thursday is the wow day. You never know what you're going to get. I also have interesting Mondays, but I don't scope a lot on Mondays. So
we'll see. If you follow him, make sure the notifications are turned on. You never know when you're going to see Judge Dawson.
That's right.
Thank you again, Judge Dawson, so much for your time. And for any glitches, guys, I apologize. I'm telling you, it was like a hot wire where like the devil claimed it. And the funny thing, the last thing, on Thursdays, we are praying for your Wi-Fi. We are, Lord, come through with the Wi-Fi today. Don't let it freeze up. Right. And we're throwing blessings. I told your wife, I said, he needs to use a tethering hotspot. But that's how funny we get. We are praying to the Wi-Fi gods. Please don't let this freeze up on us. It is amazing. So,
and when it freezes up, I get mad at my IT guy. I say, what other court in America can't just have a strong Wi-Fi? What is up with that? And he always tells me, Judge, it's strong. I'm like, no, it's not. So, I don't know.
I think we break the server down. We give the hearts. People are like, don't give so many hearts. It's freezing. We're trying to, it's so many things. So, again, thank you. Guys, we're going to have him back on again. Once he graces us the time, we'll definitely have him back on because I want to get a list of questions. I want to have this, in a atmosphere where some real powerful things can happen. Again, if you have children that are going down the wrong road, you have things that are going on in the life that you need that little extra help push, please visit www.cyclebreakeracademy.com. Please, because these are the sources and resources that we have to help our youth, to help change, and like he says, break that cycle. So
that's right.
Please follow Judge Dawson. I can't thank you enough again.
Thank you so much. I did say, and I meant this, 112. They got me through law school. Believe that.
And I'm going to have Michael call you personally because Michael was on, and then for whatever reason, it kept cutting him off. And then I don't know if it was his phone or just the service or whatever was happening. But he was so excited to talk to you, and I know he's over there probably mad as all get out. But
and I heard your interview with him, and I agree. Genuine had some big hits. You know what I mean? He was the man. So
yeah, and Michael's my co-host, so we're every Thursday he's with me all the time. So anytime you just want to call in, you can always call in and talk with him and that. But yeah, and because Tank, Genuine, and they're our family, so we hate hearing these things come up. But yeah, Genuine was the guy. That pony.
Yeah, he was. Y'all ladies love that song.
We did. Wow. And, it's scary now that he's up in age on stage because he still tries to do, and I'm like, oh, gee, don't do that. No, oh, that move. No. But he gets him rocking. So thank you again so much. And we will connect again soon. Ladies and gentlemen, please go follow at Judge Dawson, www.cyclebreakeracademy.com. Any ways you guys can, please support this judge. He is an amazing person. So, again, thank you so much for everything that you do and the service that you provide everybody. For East Cleveland, they are lucky to have you.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you. Bye. Whew, that was, I'm telling you, he is amazing. So when I swipe up and invite you followers on Thursdays to go see Judge Dawson, it is not a game. This man is the truth. Okay? This man is the truth. And I wish we had more phone calls. Wish we had more questions. But I promise you, we will have him back on. And I'm a new client, right? Get a judge on my corner. Oh, I'm telling you, he's amazing. Not only is he amazing, compassionate, patient, and he's a game changer. Okay? He is a game changer. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight to the M Squad show. I appreciate you guys for always showing love. Thank you so much. Thanks, comedian Micah. Appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. Preach. Appreciate you. All right, live worldwide. See you guys later. Thank you.